So yesterday in the meet, we went over how to do real world problems with an algebra equation. Okay, did the 2 basketballs and the 3 tennis balls, and how much did the basketballs weigh? Okay, so today did you not get one of these? Today we are going to do a few more of those examples before you do the problems on your own. Okay. So the 5 steps we talked about yesterday, these 5 steps are the required steps to solve a problem, a real world problem with algebra. Now, many of these problems you could have solved in 5th grade without algebra, just doing the arithmetic, and some of them you can still do that on some of them. But this process is the important foundation process for the rest of your math career. So in all your real world problems, you're basically going to be using these same 5 steps, just that the equations get more complicated. Okay. The hardest part of this process is writing the equation, translating words, a couple of sentences, into a math equation that you can solve. Okay. Part of that challenge is, what do these different words mean in the problem? Last year, you should have done problems where you had to say like 6 less than 2 times a number equals 52. Okay, and you had to write an equation for that by translating what does 6 less mean. It means to subtract, and such and such times a number means to multiply. Okay, or the quotient of a number in 12 means to divide. So we're not going to concentrate or worry about these specific words today. And some of them can be confusing, especially with multiplication and division. All right. Usually addition and subtraction are pretty obvious, that you had this much and you took away this much means subtraction, right? Less, fewer, smaller. Okay. But a lot of times you're confused on whether to multiply or divide. You really have to kind of just think about what's happening there. Am I splitting this number into smaller pieces, dividing, or am I taking this number and multiplying it because I'm using it a bunch of times? Okay, so you'll see what I'm talking about as we do these examples. So we're going to start on page 472 with an example that is done for you in the book. Okay, page 472. Toya had a birthday party at the movies. It cost her $27 for pizza and $8.50 per friend for the movie tickets. How many friends did she have at her party if the total, she spent $78 total? Okay. Well, that pizza, you don't know how many friends it's for. I mean, at the end, you'll find out. Okay. All right. So, to solve problems like this with algebra, we are going to use a letter to represent the number that we don't know. That step of figuring out what that letter is going to be, we call define the variable. It's step 1 on your sheet there, the orange sheet. Define the variable. I'm on page 472, Kyle. Holly, page 472. Okay, so the book has this step here, variable, let n represent the number of friends. Okay, the way I write this step is to just, so, and how do you know what the variable is going to be? What is the question asking? Where's the question? How many friends did Toya have? That's the question. So I need to use a letter to represent that unknown value. I would write F equals friends. Okay, that's what I'm going to write to define the variable. Step 1, define a variable. Means to pick a letter and say what that letter is going to represent. Now we have to write the equation. This is the hard part. In 7th grade here, all of your equations are going to be 2-step equations. One side of the equation is going to be a number. It's typically like a total or a final end result that you're given in the problem. In this case, it's a total, this total of $78. So my equation is going to be equals $78. Now I got to figure out, where does the $78 come from? How did the things go together to add up or subtract or whatever to come up with $78? Well, there's $27 for pizza. Okay, so I got to add that. And then it's $8.50 per friend. So how much money am I spending on the friends, on the movie tickets? How much money am I spending on the movie tickets? $8.50 times the number of friends. And how many friends do I have? You don't know. So we're representing the number of friends with a letter. So if I ask you how many friends do I have, you should say F or N, right? In this problem, right? N. Okay, I have N friends. Yeah, I know. I don't know what it is, but that's how many there are. So I'm going to multiply $8.50 times the number of friends. That's going to be the cost of the movie tickets. So 27 for the pizza plus the movie tickets. That's going to equal the total of 78. Okay, so now I have an equation. It's a two-step equation, which I know how to solve because we've been doing this for a couple of weeks now. Get rid of the 27 by subtracting from both sides. Then you get 850n here by itself, and over here 51. Divide both sides by 850 to get n by itself, and the answer is 6. So I've solved the equation, and it says n equals 6. This is step 3, solve the equation. Step 4, the book skips. Step 4 is to check your solution. So let's see, 27 plus 850 times, I think there are 6 friends. Does that equal the $78? So 27 plus how much for the movie tickets? 850 times 6 is 48 plus 3, $51. Does that equal 78? 27 plus 51, 78. Yes. Okay. Which tells me that 6 is the right number for this equation. And then finally, that's step 4. And then finally, step 5, because it's a real world problem. Step 5, we're going to answer the question with a word. 6 friends. Step 5. Okay. So these are the 5 steps for solving a real world problem with an algebra equation. That's what we're doing. It's the final topic in algebra in 7th grade. We'll be done with algebra after this. Okay, after the test next week. All right, so let's do another one here. Problem number 4, on page 472. And I think you have room. You have room for this one on page 472, problem number 4, to write the steps out underneath, hopefully. Okay. All right. Cyrita wants to buy some CDs, and they each cost $14, and a DVD that costs $23. She has $65. Write and solve an equation to find out how many CDs she can buy. And in my instructions on these, it will also say write, solve, and check. Okay, so in the instructions, I will give you the 5 steps, basically. It'll also say to define a variable in my instructions. So I can remind you of what the 5 steps are. All right, so step 1, define a variable. What is the question asking here? What is the question asking? Amanda? How many CDs she can buy? So what do you want to use for a letter for that? C. I like it. C equals the number of CDs. This is step 1. Define the variable. Pick a letter to represent the unknown number that you are trying to figure out. Okay. Now we have to write the equation. Look first for the total. What is one side of the equation or some end result or total? Alicia, $65 is the total amount of money that she has. Okay? So one side of my equation is equals 65. Okay? Now, where is this $65 going to come from? Well, yeah, but I mean, where's the spending going to go? So she wants to buy some CDs that each cost $14. So how much is she going to spend on the CDs? Each one costs $14. 14 times what? C. 14 times C. That is the cost of the CDs. 14 times C. Right? And a DVD that costs $23. So that's just going to get added on. Plus 23. Expensive DVD. This is an old book, though. It hasn't been updated in a while. So. Okay, so there's my equation. There's my equation. 14C plus 23 equals 65. Step 2, write the equation. Step 3, solve the equation. So we'll use our tools that we have for solving two-step equations. Write a little vertical line here under my equal sign. Write my Woodruff bubble around the 14C, so I don't do anything with that yet. And my first step in solving this equation is to do what? Roman, first step to solve this equation? Kylie, subtract 23 from both sides, from each side. So subtract 20, right? We need to get rid of this 23. I need to get the C by itself. So 23 from both sides. 23 from both sides. 65 minus 23 is, you can use a calculator for all these because you're going to get some big numbers, and I don't want you having to do the arithmetic by hand. Okay, 42. So 14C equal, oh, that's not in the right spot. That's annoying. I'm going to do this. 14C equals 42. Okay? Now what? Matthew. Get rid of the 14 multiplication by doing what? Division. So divide both sides by 14. And I show that with a fraction bar here. Right? We've been doing these for 2 weeks now. That equals 1. 14 divided by 14. So that leaves me with C equals 42 divided by 14 is 3. C equals 3. Okay, this is step 3. Solve the equation. Step 4. The check. How do I do the check? Amanda?
14 times 3 plus 23.
Right, so I substitute, instead of C, I put in 3, because that's what I think the number of CDs is. And I see if this equals 65. 14 times 3. And 14 times 3 is 30 plus 12, 42. So does that come out to 65? 42 plus 23, yep, 65. So my answer is good. I've checked my solution. And finally, step 5. What is step 5? Cole? Answer the question. So what is the answer to the question? With a word. 3 CDs. I do not require you to write a complete sentence. Just a word. It has to have a word. Okay, so 3 CDs is fine. It's great to say she can buy 3 CDs. That's true. But I don't require you to write a complete sentence. Okay, 3 CDs. Good. Okay, that's your 5 steps. Yes, Evie?
Do these CDs have stuff on them, or are they just like plain? Because like
They're recorded music, I'm guessing, like albums.
okay, I was gonna
They're also very pricey.
Queen CD.
Blanks don't even cost $1 a piece, I don't
Yeah, they
think.
cost like.
You still even do that? You can't even get them. The computers don't even have CD players in them anymore. It's a terrible, terrible thing that the world's gone through. Not really. I mean, digital music is great. I just have Spotify. I don't have to buy anything except Spotify. I can play any album I want. Yes.
I thought you were gonna go to like a cool land of like back in my day.
Back in the day when I used to have vinyl albums when I was your age.
Mr. Red,
On road fight school.
my parents still have, cassette tapes
Uh-huh.
that we have, and sometimes we put them in.
Yeah, do you have a player that plays
Yeah.
cassette? That's not
It's really
so.
old though.
Uh-huh. All right, one more example here. This is number 7 on page 473, but I put it on the notes page for you. Okay, so it gives you a good example. So on the back of your orange notes page is this problem. Cristiano is saving money to buy a bike that costs $189. He saved $99 so far. And he's gonna save $10 each week. In how many weeks will he have enough money to buy the bike? Okay, so use an equation to solve algebraically is what the book says. My instructions, which is what the instructions will look like on the homework and on the test, say define a variable, then write, solve, and check an equation to answer the question. That's the 5 steps. Alicia, Friday, Thursday, yeah, Thursday, a week from today. Today's Thursday, so it's not today, Chad. It's fine, it's on Thursday, like Monday, we'll do study guide review, and Thursday, the test. Okay. Step 1, define a variable. What is the question, right? What is the number that I don't know that I'm trying to find out? Evie? Oh, sorry, I thought your hand was raised. Kylie? How many weeks, right? Look for the question. Look for the question in the words. In how many weeks? That's the question. So what letter would you like to use for our unknown? W. W equals weeks. That is the variable that we're going to use to try to answer the question. I'm on the orange work of notes page there, Kyle, if you want to follow along now. Yeah, I know it's in the book also, but on the back side of that is this with all the boxes to fill in, okay? All right, now what's the equation? What's the equation? So, Amanda, what's the total? The total is 99? 189 is the total amount for the bike, okay? Again, look for a total. Now, you could write an equation if you had 99 on one side. Did you write an equation that has equals 99? Okay, that's not a 2-step equation, what you wrote, right? It's going to be, actually, it's way harder to do than I guess it's not really harder to do. But you're subtracting stuff instead of adding the things all together that come up with the total. It's not wrong. The total cost, look for the total. That's the easiest way to write the equation. The total is $189, okay? Where is his $189 going to come from? He has saved $99 so far. So he starts with $99. And what's he going to add on to this, James? The number of weeks times, how much is he saving each week? Okay, so the extra amount of money he's saving is 10 times the number of weeks, which is W. 10W. Is this a 2-step equation? Yes. In 7th grade, all your equations are going to be 2-step equations. Tell you that right out. Okay, that's not the case in the real world. It won't be the case next year. But this year, every equation in these real world problems is going to be a 2-step equation. A number with a variable multiplication equals a number. Okay. Step 3, solve this equation. So we'll go through our little solving strategies here. Draw my vertical line under the equal sign. Draw my Woodruff bubble. And off we go. First step. Yeah. Try and involve someone else here. Nate. Subtract 99 from both sides to get rid of it over here because I got to get W by itself. Subtract 99 from both sides. And that equals 0, right? 99 minus 99. So that leaves me with 10W here. And my equal sign is still on this vertical line. And over here, 189 minus 99 is 90. Okay, what's my next step? What's my next step, Chad? Solve this equation. 10W equals 90. What do I have to do now? Kenny G. Divide both sides by 10 is the correct answer. Divide both sides by 10 to undo multiplication. Right? This equals 1. And I'm left with W equals 9. It's Earth Day today, yes. That's my Earth Day time. Okay. What's under this box? The check. Okay, I think that the number of weeks is 9 to get this money. So let's see if 99 plus 10 times 9, does that equal $189? Substituting in 9, my solution into my equation. Okay, 99 plus 90. Yep, 99 plus 90 is 189. So I'm good to go there. And what's under this box 5? What does it say under box 5? Answer, which is, Alicia? 9 weeks. What's the question? Go back to the question. Make sure you answer the question with a word. 9 weeks. Okay? So, what I was supposed to do after this is to shift over to doing real world inequalities. And I decided last block that I'm not going to do that because I don't like them and they're confusing. And you might as well just do all equations. So we're not going to do real world inequalities. We're just going to do equations. Which means that we are finished with the lesson and now it is time to get a start on the homework, your practice problems that you can do.